Hey YouTube, Rico Knows here. This video is going to be pretty special to me. I'm talking about Beanie Bishop in this video. Shout out to Beanie Bishop Jr. here. Undrafted free agent. He was one of the best corners I saw on tape in preparation for the NFL draft. If you guys don't know what I do for the NFL draft, I come out with top 10 rankings. These are my rankings. I do a chart. I put it out in all my videos. You can find it on YouTube. You can find me breaking down this chart and explaining all the players. And if you look here at my top 5 favorite corners, Beanie Bishop was up here. Now, he went undrafted. That's why he's not highlighted. Undrafted. And everybody starts going, Rico, you don't know what you're talking about. Ha ha, Rico doesn't know. He went undrafted. Oh, by the way, last year, when I told you Ivan Pace Jr. was my second favorite linebacker and in my top 10, and he went undrafted, you all laughed. He's an everyday starter. Starling Thomas V, everyday starter. You guys were laughing at me, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. But these are the same charts that had my number 1 wide receiver is Tank Dell. This is not a game to me. I love what I do. Shout out to Tank Dell and Jaden Reed. Shout out to Tucker Kraft and a number of players. How about Thomas Incoom making the final 53 for the Broncos? But here we are, 2024 draft, and I told you guys I really like Beanie Bishop. And what's significant about this is not only did he go undrafted, but I have video evidence right here. I want to show you guys this clip. This video is after the 2nd and 3rd round of the NFL draft. If you go to the playlist NFL on YouTube and you look, I have NFL draft coverage. Now, the first time I talked about Beanie Bishop in a video was in this video right here, NFL Draft Combine Recap and new top 10s. And I talk about the top 10s. And I talk about Beanie Bishop. I also talk about not drafting Kyrie Jackson. That's a whole other issue there. Talked about him when he was alive, just so you're aware. But in this particular video, ESPN had a list of 300 players that were the best available. And it just goes to show, like, ESPN doesn't know the players. They pretend to know the players. They have no earthly idea who the players are. And the guys talking on TV, they don't know the players either. They have somebody in their ear, in an earpiece, feeding information about the players. And they don't know. They're Googling this shit. They have a database and they do this and that. They don't know the players. And I go through this list. After the 3rd round, I went through this list and talked about as many of the players as I could in the top 300. Now, there was players not on the top 300. Micah Abraham was in my top 10. He's not in the top 300. He did get drafted. Shout out to Marshall. PJ Jules wasn't in there? Okay. There are players that you don't have listed because they don't know all the players. ESPN is a disgrace. But when you get to Beanie Bishop at 212, they ranked him 212 after the 3rd round. 100 dudes already been drafted, and you're telling me he's 212. That means he's 312. What are we doing? He's higher than that. And I'm telling you, Beanie Bishop's one of the best players in the draft. NFL scouts miss all the time. NFL scouts get fired every year. Stop assuming they're the experts that you think they are. They're not. They miss all the time. Trey Lance is not a bust. The people who evaluated him as the 3rd overall pick are the busts. The staff that decided these players should be drafted where they get drafted are the people that need to be fired. They are the problem. Just remember that. Okay, these GMs get fired every 2 to 3 years. They get to keep their jobs that long because they're trying to see if their draft picks pan out. And they don't. I'm telling you, Keaton Mitchell is the 5th or 6th best running back in the draft. He goes undrafted. You start telling me, you don't know what you're talking about. Homie makes a roster. I know what I'm doing. So here we have Beanie Bishop. Let's see what I said about Beanie Bishop before the 4th round. Metrics don't pop on tape. Don't get it twisted. Beanie Bishop, one of the best, man. Sometimes you got to watch film and say, this is a good player. The NFL scouts just don't like him because he's little. He doesn't have exceptional numbers, all this stuff, but he's a good football player, man. Beanie Bishop's going to make a team. I like Beanie Bishop, and if he doesn't make it, I'm going to cheer for him in the UFL like crazy. I really like Beanie Bishop. That's one of my favorite players. Straight up. Sam Hartman, scrub. And I go on to talk about other players. Shout out to me. But if you didn't hear, shout out to Daniel Henderson, one of the MVPs on the Discord server. He reached out to me to let me know Beanie Bishop is now the starting nickel corner for the Steelers. All it took was a couple of months. And he is the starting nickel corner for the Steelers. And I'm not even, and shout out to the Steelers, they had an amazing draft. One of my favorite drafts. I talked about that in my draft reviews. They were literally my top 3. And you go out and get Beanie Bishop. They watched Rico Knows videos before the draft. They had to have. They drafted every guy I talked about. They drafted every guy I liked. Steelers, shout out to your scouting department. Put me on the payroll, bro. Beanie Bishop is your starting nickel corner. I'm still mad at them for not even drafting him because they should have used this pick on him. This guy's going to be a starter. It's not hard to tell. He's sticky on tape. And I know there's a guy on Twitter saying I don't watch film. Bro, go watch I break down film on TikTok all the time. You can watch me on TikTok live as I'm watching film. But I don't need to put it on display to validate myself. The results speak for themselves. So I saw this and I thought, man, did everybody release depth charts? Because there's going to be undrafted free agents on the depth charts. And what do you know? Kalen DeLoach, making noise in training camp, currently second string at Tampa Bay. This is a Florida State linebacker, went undrafted. Rico doesn't know, by the way, he's right here on the chart. They had him at 222. Can you imagine ESPN thinks there's 222 guys better than you after they've drafted 120 guys? They think there's still 220 guys better than you? And then a couple months later, you're in the 2 deep in the NFL? What? How do you miss that bad? How do you not have any earthly idea what you're doing, ESPN? Mel Kiper. Whoever the hell comes up with this shit. Hey, Kalen DeLoach in the 2 deep. I'm not surprised. You know why? There he is. My number 8 linebacker. My number 8 linebacker. What are we doing? Get your information on the NFL draft from somebody more nuanced, somebody who has a greater understanding of the game, somebody who actually knows these players. You know, the full body of work that I study on these players is derived from knowing them for 5 to 6 years or even longer. I've been following these players since they were in high school. I don't just discover these players when they end up on a mock draft list. I get it all the time. The casual fans who think they're fanatical. They just read the latest mock draft and they talk about the number 23 pick. That's how deep they go. They go 30 picks deep. I can't have conversations with those people. I just tell them, hey, guys, I'm busy. I'm going to keep it moving. Oh, did you hear about so? I'll be like, bro, stop that. Stop that. Hey, Rico, so where do you think Xavier Leggett's going to end up? Stop talking to me. Get away from me. I'm talking about Ryan Flournoy getting drafted. Number 217. I'm busy watching film on Ryan Flournoy getting drafted. My deep hidden gem right here. I'm busy looking at this shit. And you're busy talking about nonsense, bruh. Stop believing ESPN's rankings, please. Stop quoting them. Stop believing in them in every way. Shout out to Beanie Bishop Jr. I believe in you, man. Led the nation in passes deflected last year, and you go undrafted. Absolutely ridiculous. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Shout out to the haters.